All right, cool. All right. Welcome everyone to this month's meetup. And it's almost end of the year. So, and a lot of things are happening between now and then. So let me get started. So I see new faces here. So welcome. If you haven't heard of us, well, first of all, my name is Marco Palacios. I'm one of the founders of Pacific Hackers and currently the president of Pacific Hackers Association. And what is Pacific Hackers Association? So, well, first of all, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our intent is to fix the cybersecurity issues that we're currently facing. Number one, we're the diversity. There's not enough women. There is not enough people of color, so we want to change that. We want to bring those communities, right? We also want to fix the education system. The education system, we know it's kind of broken. Now schools, universities are teaching cybersecurity, but truth to be told, when they graduate, they come up unprepared or ready to go into the workforce, right? And that's obviously that leads to the other issue, which is the HR system, because now HR, posted junior analyst, and one of the requirements is a CISSP. And if you're in security, you know that you need to have at least 5 years of experience to get the CISSP, right? So that doesn't make sense. But those are the issues we're fixing, and obviously we're trying to go into the underrepresented communities and veterans, try to help them there because those are the people that we try to make a difference as well, right? So not sure how you hear about us. We post on different channels, but we have a meetup, official meetup channel, which is meetup.com/Pacific Hackers. That's where we announce our meetups. Here at Hacker Dojo, we also kind of like post our event in the Hacker Dojo channel. And, so some people come from the Hacker Dojo, some people come from Pacific Hackers. If you want to get the latest news and everything, join the Pacific Hackers channel so you can, get the full picture. Also, next month, we're going to have, not next month, actually, in December, we're going to have our Pacific Hackers Conference. So, this is going to be the fourth year doing this. So we started back in 2018, 2019, and then obviously for obvious reasons, we can do it in 2020, or 2021, but in 2022 came back. And it was great. It's always been a Hacker Dojo. We used to do it at the old dojo place. And in 2022, we did it here for the first time. And, here are some information about the conference. So it's going to be on December 2nd. Now, we do offer trainings on December 1st. It's a one-day training. So far, we only posted 2 trainings. And you're going to see in the next slide, one of them at least. And, so that's that. The call for papers has been closed. We are actually notifying the speakers. We got a lot of submissions, and we could only pick so many. But I can tell you that the ones we're picking are like the best. Thank you for all the submitters. We're still open for sponsors. If you know someone who's sponsoring, like your company or someone who to talk about sponsoring, please, for the conference, please let us know. We're open. And also, if you're a student, we're open for volunteers. So we're giving this year, we're prioritizing students, especially because they obviously don't have a lot of money. So there's a way to help them as well and be part of the conference. So yeah, you get a free ticket by becoming a volunteer. Again, we're prioritizing students, but if at the end we don't have enough volunteers, then we're going to open for everyone. Okay. Then this is one of the conferences that we're doing the December 1st, and it's Hacking the Enterprise. It's actually been very successful. Rod, who used to be the president at Pacific Hackers, he gave this training at DEF CON, and also he gave it at Hack Miami. And it's a great content. It's long. I have to say, he definitely goes above, the 8-hour, but the stuff that you learn here, it's very relevant to any company. If you want to get into penetration testing or want to learn new methodologies, this is a great class. Okay. So we're gonna be doing we're partnering with a big company. I cannot say the name yet, but we're partnering with a big company, and I'm gonna be looking for red teamers. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're gonna set up it's gonna be a purple team exercise where we're gonna be the red teamers. They're gonna have their own blue teamers, and we're gonna be basically trying to attack them and find a way in. And if basically it's gonna be a two-way communication. If the blue teamers find that we're trying to get in, they're gonna show us how they're looking on the reports and stuff, how we got in or how they saw us, and vice versa. If we found something and they didn't catch us, then we're gonna provide that report as well. So that's the goal. And so if you're a red teamer or know someone who does penetration testing, or just for fun, again, you don't have to be a pro. Again, it's gonna be an opportunity for everyone who's interested, like, oh, I wish I can hack ethically. Well, here it is. Here's an opportunity. If you want to hack ethically, here you go. You have open to do it. And if you want to join the continued communication and everything, we just started the Discord channel not too long ago, like 3-4 months ago. And if you want to join, please, this is a Discord channel for Pacific hackers. There's a lot of communication there. And again, we are going to start putting more information there, okay? And last but not least, we always need your help. Sometimes it's not about money. Sometimes it's about just spreading the word, telling people who we are, what we offer. If you have members or people who thinks, oh, I want to do cybersecurity, where do I start? Well, send them our way. We have a spot for them. If you know someone in the industry who's hiring, let them know that we want to make that connection, because we want to tell them that, hey, there's talent here that eventually, you can take. Actually, how I started here is actually in my current position or in my current company, I was giving a presentation just like, when I was just an attendee, and my manager was there, and that presentation was my interview. So 5 days later, I got hired by the company. So, and I want the same for you. I want to give you the same opportunity. So with that being said, sharing knowledge. If you have something to share, a presentation or something, please, let me know, because especially in January, we're going to be opening for the whole year. So again, let me know. And yeah, if you would like to sponsor or donate or whatever, please, let me know. And then last but not least, here's my info. If you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on Discord, or here's my information. Okay. And today I have just someone who's going to be do an announcement about an upcoming conference. It's actually coming, I believe, next week or next week. And yeah, so here it is. And well, actually, before we do that, let me show you the we're going to come back to this, but here's the website for the conference. So again, we have called for sponsors. It's going to be happening here at Hacker Dojo. If you want to volunteer, there is a registration link here. Fill out the form, okay? For tickets, we're going to do the volunteers get for free. The trainings are $8.99, right? And the early bird price for a ticket, it's $35. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And for trainings, we're gonna offer 2 trainings, and this one I still haven't received information from the presenter, but here is information for the hack the enterprise. If you're interested in that, this is some of the requirements that you have. This is some of the things that you're gonna learn and stuff. So and with that, I'm gonna pass it on to Regina, so she's gonna talk about World. So here you go. Oops.
Should I just go there?
Yep. Yeah. Here you go.
Oh, sounds good. Hi everybody. I'm Regina, and I'm actually speaking the keynote at AI Dev World, but it's about AI and security. We really need security people that focus on AI and work on AI applications, AI focus. So what we're doing is we're giving everybody here and anybody else at Pacific Hackers Association, a free ticket to AI Dev World, which starts on Tuesday. So Tuesday will begin the conference, and then it will go. So what's happening is AI Dev World is connected to all these other dev conferences that are right in a row, things like API World and stuff. So it's all connected. So in total, it's 8 days of conferences that is going to go till November 1st or November 2nd. So we really, really need security people, specifically at the AI one, but that would be the first 2 days, but there are many other days like API and that you can attend. So thank you so much.
All right, so again, with that, that's about the Pacific Hackers. And now today we're gonna have two presentations. One is gonna be about directory traversal, and the other one is gonna be a talk on social engineering. Okay. Yeah, so with that, let me share the other presentation, and I'll invite David to come and present about directory traversals. That's it here. So if you want to, so it's gonna be on the second screen.
Okay.
Right, so you wanna do the slideshow?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, so come over. So
Absolutely.
just as a quick introduction, so David is actually one of our not I don't want to say the first, but one of the people that we're helping to get into the field. As we started he started his journey on with Pacific Hackers, we tried to help him with giving him guidance, and also offer resources. And after he went through some training, he said, I want to do a presentation. I said, okay. So with that, it's his first time. So, it's always scary to do a presentation for the first time, but, I applaud David for doing this. So here you go. You have the floor. So
thank you.
welcome. And then you kind of have to look kind of like on that side, unless you want me to duplicate the
Is it possible to do?
yeah, let's do duplication.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So that way you.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I will just have to. Where's the other one? Give me a second. Let me find the.
100%. If anything, I can just bring my laptop up. That works better. There you go.
There you go. So you just slide to the right. No, let me close this so you don't have to.
Gotcha.
I have way too many things up. So here we go. All
All right, cool.
here you go.
Hi guys, hello. As you said, my name is David. I started at Pacific Hackers about a year ago, and yes, I'm a protege of the actual company and itself. Thank you very much for having me for my first presentation. Woo! Absolutely. So introduction. So today I'm talking about directory traversals. One of the most important things that I'll be acknowledging in this presentation today is the definitions and common techniques that I've seen, the impacts and consequences of this attack, as well as the real world applications and best practices and mitigation strategies. I'll try to keep this short and sweet. It's called a lightning talk after all. The definition of it is that directory path traversal, aka path traversal, is a critical web vulnerability that allows attackers to access files as directories outside the intended scope. So when you go through a website, usually there's subdirectories in which you could see /HTTP, the website / whatever it is. And to go outside of the scope means to be able to see things that you're not supposed to be intended to. By exploiting inadequate input validations and sanitization methods, the attacker can manipulate user input to traverse file systems, gain unauthorized access to sensitive information, or execute commands. Oh, how do I go back, Marco? Oh, there.
Got it?
Yeah. So here are some common techniques that I've been witnessing as well as I've been using in order to do so. The most basic and common one is dot dot slash. So at the very end of the URL, typically speaking, you have dot dot slash at the very end. And if you add enough of them, you could get access to the.
You'll move the picture.
Oh, yeah.
So I pull away to the corner or actually minimize it.
Okay, gotcha.
Nice. You can use the arrows as well.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Let's move this to the side then. All right, yes, so basically, if you add enough dot dot slashes, it actually gets you into the root folder in which you see everything in terms of what you can, as a administrator potentially. The URL encoding bypass, basically, instead of using dot dot slash, you can use URL encoding. So this looks anything from like %2e, %2d. Attackers may use this to obfuscate directory traversal sequences by bypassing input filters and achieving the desired traversal. At the very end of the presentation, I'll show you an example of using both of these and how it's being used. Another thing is the null byte termination. By appending null byte characters %00 to the end of the user input, attackers can truncate the actual string and bypass validation by enabling directory traversal. But we'll focus on the first two for this presentation.
Could you make your print a little bit larger?
Oh, I can. Is there a way to do that, Marco? Excuse me. Oops. No. This is the largest you guys.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
Is that where you were?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let me see if I don't think it's you can do it, or maybe here. I don't know if you change it or anything or not, but if not, that's
That's a mystery.
sorry. We'll share the information afterwards. Anyway.
Absolutely. We'll send the slides to you afterwards, just so that you can see it. So here's some examples of what actually happens. In case you haven't noticed, so the first one is a way of it's calling the file in the URL. So it's somesite.com get files.jsp file report equals report.pdf, and that's how they access the files inside this actual system. Eventually speaking, if you actually use it, there's two different methods. So if I'm going to just show it to you in this case. So if you have a file is equal to / some directory, some file, at that point in time, you have traversed the actual file directories in order to get the user root access, if that makes sense. There's two different ways. Sometimes websites call a file directory or a directory file, and sometimes they actually access it directly through the actual directory itself. And in order to change this or to make it better, there's better practices that we can be doing. Another example that I've come across is that it's also possible to include files and scripts located on external websites. So this is an example of something that I would do is that you would literally, instead of putting it in a file or going .. you would literally put the actual name of another like website into it. Some vulnerable code that we have, I won't go too much into this, but let's go into the impacts and consequences. So unauthorized data access, attackers can read sensitive files containing passwords, configuration details, customer data or confidential information stored outside the application's intended scope. I personally have been able to do this actually. In college, my professor had actually deployed a website for us to use. And using directory traversal attack, I ended up managing to find the grades of every one of the people in my students' classes, as well as everything else. Some code execution you can do is that exploiting directory traversal, attackers can execute commands on the server, leading to a complete compromise of the whole system. And eventually speaking, if you want, in certain scenarios, attackers can DOS a condition by overloading the server's resources by manipulating critical system files. Oh. Absolutely, welcome in. So some of the real world examples that this has actually happened. In 2017, Equifax was actually breached by this. There's 147 million individuals that that had their information exposed due to unpatched directory traversal vulnerability in an open source component. And the attackers exploited this flaw to gain unauthorized access to sensitive files, resulting in one of the largest data breaches in history. In 2011, the Steam gaming platform that we all know and love and play games off of suffered a directory traversal vulnerability, allowing attackers to download arbitrary data files from servers and expose system critical files, as well as potentially leading to account hijacking and unauthorized access to personal information as well. Best practices. Google Chrome actually does this pretty well now. Input validation sanitization. So you apply strict input validation sanitization techniques to prevent malicious inputs such as .. as well as whitelisting. You implement a whitelisting approach for user input, allowing only permitted characters. So like preventing dots or slashes. That's typically something that could be happening. Rejecting any potential malicious input. You could use secure file access methods, and then using this, you can by provided programming language or frameworks which protects against directory traversal. In conclusion, directory traversal vulnerabilities pose a significant threat to web applications and result in devastating consequences if left unaddressed. And then I'm going to go in a little bit of a demo. There you go. Yeah, so this is basically a website in which you could kind of like go through in order to figure it out. Basically, it has a command that you copy over here. Let me just get this for you right now. In which, if you curl it, you basically get the document type in HTML, and you get basically the contents of the HTML page that you have right over
I
here.
think this one you can make it, so let's try to make it bigger.
Okay, fair. Well,
Okay.
oh, this is not working. Correct. So if you get the contents of the HTML page, what you see here is basically the HTML. It shows everything the best to do app ever. Just for the sake, this is a very simple demonstration. If you actually manage to do one step further and you traverse the directory in order to go to public, you get another HTML file, which you get the index of, as well as just technically you see images about .html, .ico, you see files of some sort. And so what ends up happening, you find the files in the public directory, and going further into it, using our // method, you see a little bit more, but you realize that you've gone back to an HTML format in which you don't see the files anymore. So how do we get back, and how do we get user access in terms of finding in the root directory? Well, like I said in the very beginning, we use a little bit of URL encoding. %2e, if you've noticed it inside the HTML or inside the URL over here, represents .. And so that's how we get away and bypass the actual sanitization of like certain websites. And as you can see, as of right now, I have every file that you an active directory of you normally see. Just to put into more into a solid context, here's a website that is commonly deployed for people to exploit online. If you want, you can go ahead and make note of the actual website. It's called Gruyere. And if you go further into it, I've already typed it out here. Let me see if I could change where this is. But yes, so just to show, there's a flag inside this in which you can find this secret key is cookie. However, what I wanted to show in particular here is, Marco, how do I zoom in again? Marco, how do I zoom in again?
Oh, Command Shift and then plus. Command Shift and then the plus sign. Oops.
Gotcha.
Let's try that.
There you go. Perfect. Okay. I don't know if you can see it on the URL because it's very tiny, but if you case you haven't seen it, there's %2f %2f, and when it read accordingly to this is exactly what we want to see in a directory traversal attack. The actual website itself doesn't allow us to go through it. However, there is a flag hidden on this, and if you want, I can show you how to do it. But it goes through it once, and then you literally look at .secrets.txt, and it literally shows basically cookie, which is the key in this point in time.
Yeah.
But
I like this one. That's like a great example of like how you can like someone's just like serving up an image and you're just passing it a path, and now you're able to just like call their file system from the web browser.
Exactly.
The process is running through.
Yes,
I was liking the idea, like how you can defend against this a little bit.
correct,
Like you can just like run your applications in a Docker container, that doesn't solve it completely, there can be like a volume map, you can still like call your internal file system.
correct, exactly.
I mean, one thing I'm thinking is I like this idea of creating this event security agent
Yes,
that basically can just like read all the API calls that like the binary makes,
fair,
and then it can just say like, hey, you can only read and write within a certain location.
okay, fair.
So then you just like configuring policy
Yeah.
on your phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one potential solution that you may have. There's like, the reason why it's a vulnerability is
I don't
because,
think there's an easy way to do this, like what I'm saying.
yes,
I think there's like an open issue, but it sounds like there should be an easy way to do this.
fair,
You
valid.
know what I mean? It seems like there should be a trivial set.
Exactly, and so like, what do you call it, as much as like there's easy ways to patches and fixes, at some point in time, the reason why cybersecurity exists is that no matter what we do, there was always a way to loop around it. But yes, this is just me explaining a vulnerability that I found commonly that has definitely had very interesting effects. But yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening for my first one. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, and yeah, we'll share this information. In fact, we do have a GitHub page where we have a repo of all the presentations from all the conferences and everything, but it was unmaintained, so we're in the process of maintaining, updating it, and then eventually, we're gonna share it, so, but in the meantime, if you want to, this information, go to the Discord channel and request it, okay? So, the information is gonna be there. All right, so let me go back to my other window here and let's see here. All right, so the other part of the presentation, we didn't actually announce it on Meetup, so that's sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not, but we have a presentation that we make for this big company that I can not. That's the same company we're looking for, to get people to do the red team exercise, and anyways, we're basically becoming partners for them. So for the people who just came in, so we're going to have we're gonna do a purple team exercise. So I'm gonna be looking for, if you're interested in doing red team or hack ethically, legally, in a big corporation, please let me know, because basically this is called for hackers. So if you're interested, please get with me, because we are preparing to do that. I don't have a lot of details yet, but know that we're going to do that with this big company. So so if you're just interested, like, oh, how does it feel to hack a real enterprise network? Well, here you go. We're gonna provide that to you. So between now and then, again, that's all I have for now in terms of that information. So but just send me a quick reminder either on Discord or or an email, and let me know, hey, I'm interested. And the more information I have, I'll let you know. Okay. So today, as part of the second part of the meetup, so I knew it was going to be short. We decided to do this presentation since this is Cyber Awareness Month, and cyber awareness is, this is basically a reminder for everyone to be agile and open to, to the cyber world. We live in the digital age, and it's just, we're not gonna stop. So but there's, even just like in the real world, there's a lot of things that could happen to you, and we just want to prevent it, right? Because that's all we can at this point. Cyber attacks are imminent, and you just have to know how to leverage that and do risk assessment and management and stuff. That's basically all you can do. So today, basically the agenda is we're gonna talk about social engineering, and this is very important because if you see the recent attacks, it was because social engineering. It wasn't because of anything else. It was social engineering. So yeah, today we're gonna discuss social engineering. We're gonna talk the different attacks out there. We're gonna have even some hacker tools that you can use for social engineering. And obviously we're gonna talk about the impact of social engineering and how to prevent and mitigate from those, okay? So let's talk about the coding social engineering. So first of all, as a disclaimer, the views and opinion. Well, actually, I always forgot to do this since I already introduced myself. I did not introduce my partner today, which is Lenin. So Lenin, he is a member of Pacific Hackers. He's been attending since 2019, I think. Yeah, and now he's getting more involved. And well, I'll let you introduce yourself before I actually move on. I'm gonna shut up for a second.
Yeah, my name is Lenin Alevsky. I'm originally from Mexico. I have been living here since 2019. So I found Pacific Hacker when I moved here, and I start hanging out with the community. I'll actually help me a lot with public speaking. And then I have learned a lot. I have researched a lot, and then come and give talks. So I'm a security engineer at one of the local technology companies here. I love everything. I mostly do like routing stuff, but I realize the importance of the red teaming stuff, which is a topic I also love to research and engage. So in this talk, we're gonna teach a little bit of what the toys that we got from DEF CON. Like we got a lot of the OMG cable, rubber duckies, pineapples, a lot of stuff, and how they are used in the enterprise to compromise, to install ransomware, to do nefarious things like that. So you can also learn and be more protected in your organizations.
Okay.
I like just handing out ransomware. It's a great thing. I have like some GitHub repos where you can like easily do like ransomware concept.
Nice.
You can just run a simple Python script and it'll work on every machine. And I'll just like post blanks when I get this.
Yeah.
It's like
So-
using a ransomware script.
Yeah, there is a lot of there is also like open source. I myself have my own ransomware that I code in Go, but I use it mostly like for like teaching exercises. Like to code a ransomware, you need to know like advanced topic like cryptography and PKI and things
You
like
don't
that.
have to know it that much, though. That's why it's good to like find one of the open source ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, I say like to code one, I enjoy like the learning exercise, right?
Yeah, I'm curious about the routing part.
Mm.
Like, what is your experience in that? Like, I have an Android phone here, and I want to add more capabilities to it. I think the software will need to speed up.
Yeah, we can discuss more.
Yeah, we
about
can
this
discuss it after
the
the
meeting.
So again, I stopped where it says a disclaimer. So again, we both work for companies in the area. So the views and opinions expressed in this presentation are our own. I do not represent the opinions of our employers. So if you have any questions about the content of this presentation, please let us know directly, okay? So let's talk about social engineering, and actually let me turn the camera this way again. So if you want to come this way, so well actually. Okay, so let's talk about social engineering. So this is the attack for that relies on human interaction. So that's how people, how the attackers are manipulating people to get into the networks, right? I can definitely give you just recent examples of successful social engineering attacks. One of them being the MGM grant. So we're actually going to talk about it in a little bit, but that's just the biggest example we have. So let's talk about the different ways of social engineer someone. Number one, phishing, right? So we got all these emails from back in the day. I don't know how old are you, but we used to get those emails from the Prince of Nigeria trying to give you a bunch of money, right? I actually I was in a public channel, global channel, where someone mentioned about put a meme about the Prince of Nigeria, and there was actually someone from Nigeria very, very pissed because it's like, oh, please take that down. That's very offensive to me. It's like, no, but that's the fact. Like for I don't know how many years I got an email that this guy from Nigeria is gonna give me money, and anyway. So phishing, yeah, that's how you get you in. Baiting, again, we're not using USBs as much as we used, but still there is a need of of using USBs, right? Even now, like for example, the Titan keys that Google, for example, are offering, those are like multi-factor, a way to do multi-factor authentication, but it's via USB, right? That could also be good and bad, right? So regardless, we're still using USB. So someone leaving a USB in the parking lot, that's when curiosity comes in and it's like, oh, what's in there, right? Especially the ones that are by the companies that says, like financial data. And you're like, wonder how much my company is making, or like HR information, like salary information, like, oh shit, like how much my coworker is making, and then whatever. Tailgating, another, if you're working for a company, make sure that when you're going into the buildings, make sure, just, basically someone is like the person who's going there, it's the right person, because tailgating is basically letting someone in who's not part of the organization, right? And then pretexting, again, when you now, it's not only phishing, but also you're getting those social engineering texts. Like lately, I don't know why, but I've been getting a lot. It starts with, "Hey, how are you?" I can show you one. Actually, just got it this morning, by the way. So it's just amazing. Like someone starts a conversation, and the nature of a person is like be cordial and polite and say, "Oh," respond back and say, "Hey, how are you?" Well, guess what? You're just giving the introduction to that person to start the conversation and eventually impersonate that person. I can tell you many stories where I actually got introduced to the real people because of an attacker. I'll tell you this story really quick. So I got an text and I said, "Hey, I'm so-and-so, the CISO of whatever," and I was like, "How do you know my number? Like this, and you're a CISO, why you want to talk to an analyst?" This is a few years ago. Like, I'm brand new in the field. Like, why does CISO want to talk to me, right? Especially he's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. I looked him up on LinkedIn, and I sent him a message, and I say, "Hey, I'm pretty sure this is fake, but I still want to know if this is you. I just want to confirm it." It was kind of odd. And he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, in fact, this is me, but this is not my number, but definitely I am a CISO." So the attacker was trying to impersonate this CISO for a big company. And long story short, how we became connections. So, it was kind of funny, like an attack will give me that option to go and talk to a higher level person. And anyways, all right, so let's talk about some of the impacts of social engineering. Number one, financial loss, identity theft, data loss, and reputation, right? So MGM, let's talk about a little bit about MGM. So in my previous years, I used to be a systems engineer for casinos. The company I used to work for, we install server-based gaming. So I got to travel around the US where there were casinos, and I was installing casino systems. I have to say that MGM, out of other corporations, casino corporations, they had their act together, right? They invest a lot in their technology, especially since they regulated. Their technology is top notch. They try to always go above and beyond, especially because they make a lot of money and they have the best casinos, at least in Las Vegas, right? If you go MGM Grand, to Bellagio, Aria, all of them, you can tell like those are like the best casinos because they put a lot of money into it, right? What happened last month, or September? Yeah, we're still in October. So what happened last month? Well, guess what? So they got breached and they got ransomware. But where did the breach start? It started by a social engineering call to the help desk. The attackers called the help desk, impersonating one of their VPs. And I said, "I need access now, blah, blah, blah." They got in. Basically, they provided they reset their password. And then the attackers were able to go into the actual servers and that's where there's a lot of unknowns, obviously. I'm just talking from the information I have, and I don't have all the details, but I'm just from an overview perspective. Basically, they impersonated, they got into the servers. Then from there, they start distributing the ransomware. Right now, the ransomware, and now the attackers are, or the criminals are, have their information encrypted. Now they want money, right? And now the funny fact that casinos actually are known for not paying money. So I actually sent a text to one of my friends. They were looking for someone and says like, we're looking for contractors to basically help us to get back. But what they were paying, it was like, really? Is that how much you care about, going back? Anyways, that's just, again, my personal opinion, but long story short, that's what happened. So let's cover one of the, again, most successful attacks, which is ransomware. We had a member here who just mentioned about, you can easily deploy a ransomware, and we have Lenin who said, I have a script for educational purposes where I can deploy my own ransomware. Create the ransomware, it's not difficult, right? But it's just how you get the ransomware deployed. That's where you need a little bit, how you have to do your research, right? Like with the MGM, for example, I'm pretty sure it wasn't, oh, I'm just gonna get in a phone call, I'm gonna try to do something, gonna get in a phone call with help desk and have them reset my password. No, these people definitely, it was a whole operation, and basically that's how they got in. So here's an actual, I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty small. But basically, well, first of all, if you don't know what ransomware is, it's some type of malware that basically encrypts your data. And if you want your data back, then you basically have to pay them, right? I used to have, and unfortunately, I don't have it anymore, but I used to have a demo where I actually show live how ransomware works and the whole process and everything. But maybe in the future I'll bring it back. We have a video, but like I said, we used to do it live here, so you can see like from the time where I double click to the time that you see your files gone and basically. But anyways, but yeah, that's basically. And if you want your data back, basically you have to pay for it, right? Again, this is just how it's delivered. I mean, email phishing, drive-by download. So when you're going to websites, right, either something that could happen, you can download a file, right, and the file might contain the ransomware, or during the phishing, there might be no like attachment, but might be a website where you downloads and stuff. Also supply chain attacks, right? Stuff that you think companies are safe and have secure coding, but guess what? We saw it with Kaseya, we saw it with others where using legit ways or of with updating software, they use those some ways to deploy the malware, and the companies who are paying like money to install their stuff, guess what? They were using it to deploy this ransomware. Post-exploitation lateral movement, the stuff that David showed, directory traversal. If you can get root into a server by doing a directory traversal, then you can copy and upload a file, put it into that server, and just create, like, for example, a cron job in Linux, for example, right? Where it's an automated job that by this time I want this file to execute. And do other parameters to like deploy to others, right? So again, something like that, it's as easy as it sounds, is as easy as that, so we when you do ransomware, basically what it mainly does is enumerates the OS number one on the whoever the programmer is obviously identifies what type of OS is doing this. If it's a Linux, if it's Mac OS, if it's Windows. Now, I have to say that the majority of ransomware types are mainly for Windows, right? There's obviously some for Mac OS and there's some for Linux, but majority, like the market, is for Linux, for Windows, right? Because there's a lot of Windows users. Corporations uses more Windows than Linux and Mac, right? Now, for the people who say, "Oh, yeah, I have a Mac, I don't have a problem." Well, let me tell you that no, there is ransomware for Mac, and sometimes it's even worse than the Windows one. You cannot recover as easy. Then for Linux, same thing, right? So anyways, the ransomware evolution, after it enumerates the system, terminates certain processes, and then it starts encrypting everything, right? And then basically checks for the public key and does the following, right? Some of the ransomware facts. So again, just last month, Sony and MGM Grant were the affected ones. It wasn't Sony's first time having a ransomware attack. We saw the bigger attack back in 2013 when Korea when they released that movie, that it was controversial, and then Korea they basically hacked them and stuff as a result of that. I think this is like the 4th or 5th time that Sony got attacked. In February, actually, when I gave this presentation the first time, it was a week after the city of Oakland got ransomware, right? So again, doesn't matter how big, how small, or whether it's a public sector or government, you're being targeted, okay? Last year as well, San Francisco 49ers. I don't know if you knew, but they were ransomware. The San Francisco bar system, they got ransomware, okay? So again, you think, like, now we have, like, in this list, three places that are part of Silicon Valley, and some people think like, well, Silicon Valley, we have the technology, this and that, we should be protected. Well, guess what? It's not about being around technical and smart people. It's about being cautious and having that security culture inside, company, right? If your company, I don't care if you're creating the next generation of technology, if you don't build it with security in mind, you're gonna get hacked and it can be easily destroyed, right? And for example, some ransomware facts about how much these people are making by deploying ransomware. 75 billion. That's how much companies or these people are gaining. But the image of all these big companies, is like, really? Wow. I mean, I thought you have your act together. Why you got even ransomware, like MGM, and stuff. Go ahead.
So $75 billion, most of them has gone to the security agencies, like Norton or any of the people who are going to provide you firewall. So I guess it's in their interest to not stop any of the threats, because if all the bad actors are gone, then all the profit for Cisco, Palo Alto Network, Norton, everything is gone.
I think there's a problem on that, but actually we're going to touch on that, because to be honest, the companies are not investing sometimes enough in the technology, and if they do, they don't have either the resources. But actually, we're going to discuss about that. So hold that thought, because that is true. But it is true that some companies overinvest in these companies, but there's some of them that don't do it. So, but we're going to discuss about that. Okay. And we have a demo. Again, we used to have a live demo, and we don't longer have it. So let me give me a second here. So as you can see, let me start this again. All right, so this demo, it's about 3 minutes. And basically what it shows is, he's teaching you, like, he has a Windows 10 machine. He has all these files that he can open, and blah, blah, blah. He can open it before the ransomware deployed, and stuff. And then once he deploys the ransomware, it takes about 30 to 45 seconds by the time they cannot longer access their files, right? So once they click OK, you will start seeing that all the where is this? Hold on. You start seeing that there's gonna be some applications there or processes there that, you know, doesn't make sense. Like, for example, that one is called Dropbox, but it's not Dropbox. Dropbox.exe will say Dropbox.exe. This one, it says DRP.bx something or box, right?
There is no publisher for that. If you go back for a couple of seconds, and the process list does not have the publisher for that.
Right. So one of the things when actually I gave a presentation about this with this particular file, if you right click on properties, the file will supposed to have a publisher and it doesn't. So that's obviously something for a different talk, or actually a talk that I gave a few years ago, where I actually show how to do malware reverse engineering based, you know, from a high level, like with this particular one, right? And again, it was not part of this presentation, but you know, if you're interested, let me know, and I'm be more than happy to
So let's
bring
say
it back.
if I click, right after clicking, I realize I clicked the wrong file, so there is no way to stop the process after that.
Right, exactly. Once that you started, you're it. That's it. You're gone. Let me see if I can go back a few seconds.
It's interesting, once you start.
It's like a one, right?
That's actually, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So
Remember what the pattern is.
the good thing about this one is there's actually a button there, I think, where it says view encrypted files. Actually, it's kind of nice that the attacker gave you the list of files, and if the important files that you had in your computer are in there, well, guess what? You're pretty much gone. So yeah, but you mean? Oh,
Oh.
either.
Sorry.
Yeah, so, yeah, me, I cannot see from this side neither, so sorry about it.
Quick question.
Sure.
Can the attacker run this file without you being clicked on?
No, you have to execute it.
But is there a way like they can just send malware in the email and the email program like Outlook or someone's automatically?
Yeah.
So that will be like depending on how the payload gets executed,
Mhm.
right? with the
It
machine.
really depends on also how, yeah, basically how it's gonna be generated. It could be, I mean, this one is an executable, but it can be done on a picture, right? Or a PDF, right?
In a lot of engagement, you get like a document file, and then it will ask you to enable macros, right? And that macro will download the actual malicious payload. So depending on how you are executing that, or how the malware, the deployment of the malware is designed, that's how it's gonna run. But I believe this one is it's a video from a SANS course, right? From
Mhm.
SANS Computer. So they are you demonstrating the capability, but the way how you deploy things, that's an art on itself, right? Like there is a lot of ways you can trick people to execute your malware. So
Can you go over some of those various ways? You said there's a lot of ways to trick.
yeah, so one of the most popular one in the past when I used to do like more red teaming stuff, it was you just craft like a PDF file or like a document, an office document file that has some macros, malicious macros inside, and you use social engineering in the case the user like clicks on that, right? So you can argue, yeah, they still have to click the document, but that's more. A lot of people will trust more because they are in that like office document environment, like just like clicking an executable, right? Like that.
Right.
So yeah, that's one way. Another one is we have a couple of devices here that we're gonna show in which you can automate this process. Like as a red teamer, you go inside the building, you find some computer that they are unlocked. You just plug the USB, it runs the malware, and you're done, right? So there is no human that has to do the click. Everything is automated.
So I guess like the USB malware, that's already fixed, like because of the newer antivirus. Is it still there or not?
The antivirus, what's your question again?
So let's say I go to buy some device from what's the store name? Let's say Target. In Target, I'm buying a cell phone. They have a USB device installed in my laptop. So do you think it's the same danger right now to install a USB from Target, like on their dashboard, like?
So hold that thought because there is actually an example of that. So it's called the OMG USB,
Oh, yeah.
which it looks like a regular USB to charge your phone, but it's actually has the capability of remoting. In fact, we had a demo back in August. We did a demo here where we introduced it and someone in the classroom was able to go into my computer.
Oh, wow.
And all he needed was me connected to the internet and the cable plug-in. That's it.
So you plug in cable in your laptop?
Yeah. So it's like you can ask somebody, hey, can I charge my phone in your computer? And the cable will span a Wi-Fi network in which the attacker can connect remotely and remotely send like keystrokes into the computer. Right? So it's that's more like a implant kind of.
Yeah. And that same goes with what we mentioned earlier about the USB, so before you used to find a USB hanging around, we don't use USBs anymore, right? But now we definitely use cables to charge our phones, right? Well, guess what? At this point, not only can affect your computer, but it can also affect your, this cable can do many things, depending how you're set up for things. Yeah. So now I'm gonna let yeah, so come here so you can.
So yeah, we are kind of already talking about the tools.
I had a quick question.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, great demo by the way, but in the cases that you mentioned, there was some sort of a user interaction involved. Have you come across any cases where no user interaction was needed and the malware just executed on its own?
That's what he explained about the word file.
Yeah, so
But in that case, you have to make the user interact, right? Let's say there is a process that is running, and as soon as a file makes its way into the computer, it is able to analyze, hey, this is the process that I can piggyback to, and then self-execute itself, and rather than waiting for like an event to occur. I'm sure they have to have event listeners in place, and for that they require the user to interact with it somehow. But I'm just like curious.
No, so I think the solution, I think that if you have an auto display your mail file, like your Outlook automatically displays contents of PDF file. So whenever some file mail comes in with a PDF in it, so Outlook will try to load that PDF in its memory.
But that's when the browser defenses would kick in. So I don't think so. We are exploiting Outlook in this case.
Yeah, no, that goes kind of in the realm of the zero-click exploits, right? In which, like, let's say you can, in the past has been like 0 days at Chrome, in which your computer gets hacked just by visiting a website, right?
Yeah, but I'm like, have you come across any scenarios or malware?
There is a couple of history behind that. Like, I don't think we have demos of that, but that will be a great talk about like zero-click exploits. And phones also can get hacked by receiving an SMS. You don't even have to open the phone or look at it, just by receiving it. But I think we should continue that.
Yeah, and just remember, since this talking on social engineering is the attacks on humans, there has to be like right.
Yeah,
but that's like on the other side. Like that, at that point, we will not be a social engineering attack. That will be almost like a network perimeter attack. Like, we will consider that real because again, it's a 0-day attack where there's no human interaction, so it goes above the social engineering ways, right? But yeah, I mean that's a great question. But there is definitely NSO group, Pegasus, if that rings a bell, right? That's where your question is headed to. There was no user interaction. All they need is access to your device. How they got in the access? That was a social engineer. They somehow got social engineered before, right? And then from there, they own your phone, right? But there was some social engineering before that. Now if there was really a social engineering attack, who knows? Maybe it was a supply chain attack where let's talk about a US company. Let's say AT&T, they deploy their own software for their phones, right? why, they could use the same way to deploy this software, that it's like at the kernel level, like no user interaction or anything, but it was at the supply chain level, like AT&T deployed this type of software to monitor your phone, right? Which obviously you already entering a trust with AT&T because it's your provider, right? But you don't know what they're installing. You don't know how much information you're getting there. In Android, for example, actually in iOS too, you can set the permissions for different stuff like app permissions, like they can see your contacts or the stuff. That's at the application level, but at the kernel level, you and I don't have access to that. It's at the OS level. And sometimes the only one who has access is either Apple, Android, or in some cases the carrier companies like
So
AT&T.
sometimes we have smaller career companies, like smaller, I mean, they just have like 50,000 users. Okay, they have government contract. All right, in a small state in Montana. So I think once they are deploying updates, it's very easy to hack their system and infect their updates. So every phone will be updated. But I have a burning question before you go my guess.
Sure.
So there was a stunts virus. Do you think it still is around or it's already killed?
What is it? Sorry?
Stunts virus, the USB virus, where the USB virus is starting?
Not familiar with that. Sorry.
Yeah.
No,
Okay, later on.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
But yeah, like this is great what you're saying, like companies
Wait, I'm curious, what do you know about that?
So what the public information has published is that this virus was infecting German or French company, Siemens and their hardware. Okay, but there was no cure given to me there. Okay, the same USB thing, spread through years.
So like Stuxnet or
Yes, it's
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Stuxnet.
yeah, the SCADA, yeah,
Stuxnet,
like their plans.
Stuxnet goes. It's like the first. That's
Like
a
first-
USB thing that we're.
Yeah, the first weapon made of code, they call it like
It's
that.
already gone or is still there?
There's modifications of it, but
Yeah.
that's, you're
There's
talking,
variants.
it was, okay, well, let's talk about Stuxnet.
Later.
It was created by the NSA and by the Israelis to attack Iran. So they have the R&D to create the first weapon of not user interaction I mean, if you look at the Stuxnet, right, and what happened, right? They disassemble a whole nuclear, facility by creating an optic for a legit operation that Siemens, the Siemens, the company who does this type of devices, which by the way, they're isolated. That's the reason why they are ICS, right? Because they are, what's the term?
Air
Air
gap.
They're air gap, right?
But they're still flying over air gap.
Right, but they did not use a regular, I just find a USB and I'm gonna plug it in. No, they downloaded from the website from Siemens. And Siemens had Stuxnet. That it was again.
So the updates have.
So I mean, without,
They have
going
the
very
vendor, so-
controversial here, but I mean, it's kind of clear that some government without, the ones involved was the US, UK, and Israel. That we all know that, and it was because Iran has always been against, and you can actually see it with the Israel attacks right now.
So there's a Pegasus.
No, Pegasus
That's a
is
different-
thing.
Yeah,
Pegasus
that's
is just it's from the NSO group, which is a company that makes legit software for
Surveillance.
privacy, for surveillance and privacy invention.
But the journalists who worked with Washington Post who got murdered.
Right, but but that's a whole, we're talking two different sections
But
here.
that's also zero click exploit, like you don't have to click.
No, that's not serious. Well, it's good, consider zero exploit, but also,
Through WhatsApp.
you don't know that.
Yes, through WhatsApp.
Look,
So when you want
look,
to-
NSO uses different modes of it, and you said also at the kernel level. That's what I used when I gave you the examples, like, you don't know how NSO or Pegasus was installed. Could be through WhatsApp, it could be through text, it could be through just going through a website or from your phone and downloading something that you don't know that is downloading. It could be through a supply chain. You don't know, right? It just happened. With Stuxnet, it was clear that a government, because it was a state-sponsored attack, a government hack seems modify their legit software for their particular,
Interest attack.
whatever.
Yeah,
The people in Iran were and download the file, put it on a USB, went to the air gap system, installed the
malware, the virus.
the update, because it's a legit update with malware in there. That doesn't look like malware. If you actually look at the code from the Stuxnet, that doesn't look like malware at all. It's legit processes that a regular ICS or a regular program will have.
And a lot of malware nowadays is signed, right? But like it's verified, signed by
And that was verified by SIEMs. by the way.
Yeah.
So
So it's
it was all legit. There was nothing in there unless you download and do reverse malware on that particular update. That's when you find out,
Yeah.
Now, if you want to get to that level of untrusted web, then every update that you do either on your phone or your computer, download each file and reverse malware.
Yeah.
You don't trust the company.
So I guess like, even if you have the MD5 hash, you can trust.
Why? Like, what's the MD5 gonna do? Or the SHA-1 or SHA-256? What's gonna do? You can run it to VirusTorrent is gonna say, oh, it's legit.
Yeah.
You
Which
can
is-
you can do a strings on it and read what's in there. That's all you can do, honestly.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that level of code. Or reverse malware, to understand what's going on. Are you actually gonna do it? Like, let's be realistic. I'm not gonna invest my time on going through an update, any update for anything. Just to see about, if someone's watching over me. I mean, let's be realistic. It's just not gonna happen. I don't even have that level of knowledge to understand a lot of like the programming or the things on each of the updates, right? Because they could be written in many languages or something that goes at the kernel level or something that is out of my, I just don't know, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm gonna move forward. So no, this is great conversation
It's a great
because
conversation,
we are
by the way.
talking about like ways to get your foot inside the organization, right? Like companies can spend a lot of money in research and development, millions of dollars. Pegasus, I guess, is like 3 million or so. Or I can pay you someone inside the company to like give them this little people keylogger and going inside and plug it on a keyboard like this. And the person, unless the person look behind the computer, like this device is gonna log all the keystrokes, right, of the computer. So like you start as a red teamer, you start looking what makes sense. Like you're gonna spend 6 months doing research on the software, the tools the company use, or you are going to try to breach into the company like by physical means or things like that. And then at the end is whatever match your goals, right? Like with a keylogger, you can extract like credentials, you can log credentials, and then you can use to lateral movement, right, in the company.
You know, it's interesting, is that the only way that you're aware of a keylogger to be installed?
There is way more, and we have more toys in here. There is typically,
Was at the beginning of the pandemic, I noticed that WebEx from Cisco, actually, when I really saw that, it would say that it had keylogger capabilities, and I went, what?
yeah, exactly.
And, so I didn't use that WebEx.
Yeah.
And,
And there may be software that do that for like legitimate reasons, but a lot of this is using security judgment. Like, why does WebEx want access to my keystrokes, right? Like, you're just a video conference company. Why do you do that? But this one is a physical keylogger, right? A hardware keylogger. So this is transparent for the operating system. Like, it doesn't know this is connected. There is software keylogger, which is like capabilities that sometimes they are used by malware to log all the keystrokes. They even can install like as a kernel module, so it's even more difficult to detect those, right? Antivirus won't see that. But a keylogger like this one won't be seen by the operating system, won't be detected. And there is an updated version of this one that when I use this one, I connected, it has some memory, some limit about how many keystrokes they can record here. And then I have to go again and retrieve it. But there are some models that they have Wi-Fi capabilities. So I can remotely connect and remotely access the log, so I don't have to go again on site, right? And this is, believe me, like I have used this type of things in the past. The rate of success is very high, and you don't have to, you don't spend much time doing this, right? Like you need less than 1 second, I guess, to connect it, and that's it. So
And just to answer that as well, so there's obviously, again, so this is social engineering attacks, where you need some type of user interaction. For this one, obviously, I'm not gonna, me as a user, end user, I'm gonna, plug it in. But if I'm doing like a penetration testing engagement or something, I could literally, after hours, who do you normally see in a company?
yeah,
The people who clean the offices, right? And they don't make a lot of money. I can just go and say, hey, can you do me a favor? We just go with the thing and we'll go with a bunch of Benjamins in your hand and say, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you go to office, on the third floor, 108 or 308, and can you unplug the keyboard and plug this one in with the keyboard and give me exact instructions? Don't you think they're not gonna do it like it? They probably don't even know what this is. Or I can just literally social engineer that person and say, hey, I forgot my badge. Do you mind give me access to that? And you can just like cry and stuff like that. Like, oh my God, I have a deadline, I just lost this, whatever. And then let you in. And then you go and go ahead and come back and run. That's it.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I have seen it. I have doing it in the past. By default, we are kind. We want to be kind to each other. If let's say you're trying to go through a door, you have to badge. One trick as a red teamer, like you can hold a bunch of boxes so people look that you are having a hard time. They will hold the door for you. Yeah. They will let you in, right? We know we take security training. We're not supposed to do that, but our nature is to help each other, right? To be kind to each other. So there is a lot of tricks like that, right? And as Marco said, like you can try to trick an employee, do social engineering. Or this is the reason why insider threat risk is very high inside companies, right? They care about insider threat even more than outsider because people already have access to sensitive information, sensitive areas, and doesn't matter if you spend like millions of dollars or we say billions of dollars on the technology if the process is broken or the people is broken. So it has to be a balance.
Why do you think Google has good reputation or good perception of reputation that they have not been hacked? That they are doing better in security?
Yeah, I cannot comment much on that, but yeah, again, this is my comments, blah, blah. Yeah, as much as, like all big companies, there is this famous quote that says, it's not about if you are gonna get hacked or not, it's a matter of when. So Google has been hacked, Microsoft has been hacked, Meta has been hacked, but the truth is that working in those companies inside, I get a new perspective, which is like all the people in there, they legitimately care about the user information, right? They are trying to do their best to protect data, user information. Being an incident, a ransomware incident, especially, believe me, is not something fun. Like when that happens, you have to be on site, even like for periods of like 24 hours, because there's investigation going, right? Like they are trying to understand how they got breached, if there was an insider, like you are even like a subject of an investigation, right? So everybody try to do their best and everybody try to not make mistakes, but those are unavoidable sometimes.
And also from a threat hunting mindset, you remember the definition of threat hunting is like, it's assumed breach, meaning that that your network it's breached, you just have to find the attack, right? So when we do threat hunting, that's the mentality we have to go through. I'm gonna question every single thing that I see on my network until I find the attacker. And that's how people or blue teamers should act, right? You have to go into your network and treat it as it's breached. You just have to find that attacker. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you find, for example, the torrent system inside? The torrent system, or like kind of, for example, let's say attacker use the program and it used the torrent, like BitTorrent.
BitTorrent.
Yeah, well, there's
Yeah.
NetFlow, well, again, if the company has NetFlow, right, you can see all communications going outside your network. You cannot see the inside communication, like what it originated, or sometimes depending. But you can definitely see how much has left your network. And I'll just put this example, and I actually was in a case where I was like that, where I saw like terabytes of data leaving the network, and from one computer. Really, like,
Bring some
is
alarms.
this person like inside threat? Or this person is like torrenting something? That's an easy one, right? Because, or just uploading stuff like to the cloud or something, right? Especially if it's, you see the destination IP and it's a cloud provider, it's like, okay, why, and stuff. So that's when you go and try to track that person. But yeah, there's many ways you can see that, and there's obviously there's ways to bypass that as well, right?
And that's great because I'm gonna go fast on this, but just commenting on that. Depending on the maturity of your company, they have like sophisticated tools, right? And do forensic is easier and things like that. But Marco say about like looking at the traffic, and some more advanced ransomware, they use command and control centers that they are based on cloud services like Dropbox and Gmail and Drive. So from the networking team perspective, all they are seeing is legitimate traffic, right, to the services. But that traffic is malicious, right? They are exfiltrating data those ways. So it's like a mouse and cat game in which like ransomware is evolving, like technologies are evolving, and it's a never end.
Another burning question about the what is it? Ransomware. Ransomware, when you are an attacker, you're trying to hack a big corporation ransomware, like hospital or something. So this is not one Windows machine I can hack. It has to be on the server, right? Yes or no?
No.
It can, like, you can run it, like the operating system doesn't matter, like you can have ransomware for.
No, but how did they shut down the whole hospitals?
Oh,
Because
some of them can
it goes back
propagate.
to like network segmentations, the principle of just networking, right? If you don't have proper network segmentation, meaning you're having a big subnet where literally I can plug in something and broadcast to everybody who's connected in the same place. Here you go. You don't need a server to deploy the ransomware. You just need a machine that is or a ransomware that's gonna act as a worm, and the worm is gonna distribute through everybody.
Yeah.
If you have network segmentation, it will affect only that subnet. Otherwise, again, there's a lot of things involved here.
And on that there is like this popular exercise that you learn to do like on SAM's courses, in which, let's say I'm doing a pen test on your organization, your machines are vulnerable to Eternal Blue. So I use Eternal Blue to compromise your device. I deploy my ransomware. The ransomware also has propagation capabilities, which is what Marco is saying about acting like a worm. So the ransomware itself will scan all the segment and will try to reach all the IP addresses, all the computers, and exploit Eternal Blue as well, right? So it propagates, and that's how the whole infrastructure get compromised. Also, if you are into like Active Directory exploitation, if you get access to an actual Active Directory that basically has credentials to allow all the computers in the organization, you can push a malicious update, right? You can push a binary and execute it. So that's it all depends, right, on how the level of access, how your network is segmented, all of that. So
if one can scan all the network devices, so if I'm going to go to Starbucks and connect my laptop to Starbucks network, anyone can scan all the people in the Starbucks access point, right? Yeah, you can use Nmap or any other scanner, network scanner, and you will see all the devices. You will see even like phones. You will see IoT devices. If some of them are vulnerable, like because you can reach them, you can exploit them, right?
And actually, after this, we have a section on how to defend and how to defend stuff.
Oh yeah.
So let's go through this first, and let's hold the questions for now.
So yeah,
this
one
wants to go soon. So if he doesn't make it, then I'll take over.
I think this is called the Hacker's Toy Box for a reason, because we got a lot of toys at DEF CON, and a lot of them are very interesting. Honestly, I haven't had time to play with all of this. But the next tool is called the USB rubber ducky, right? This has been around for a while. It looks like a regular USB. You can see it. But during red teaming or social engineering exercises, you can basically drop this on a parking lot or in an office. And when you connected this, what this do is emulating a keyboard. It's emulating a sequence of keystrokes. So you can, for example, you can automate a sequence that open the terminal and execute a command, like such as connecting to reverse share or downloading ransomware from a URL. And the premise is that this looks like a regular USB, right? So that's another way, an easy way.
Distinguish it.
This one?
Yeah.
Like unless you like kind of open it, you can see it's not like a regular USB in the inside, right? It has a couple
It
of
has an SD card.
an SD card. It has a small like a small microprocessor inside. And this is why a lot of companies, like, I have to try this, but when you connect this, it's detected as a keyboard, not as a storage device. A lot of companies, they block storage devices, right? Or they disable all the USB ports by default. But then that's problematic, because if you need to connect like an external keyboard, the USB port is not working, so people complain.
Is it ducky?
Yeah, this is a USB rubber ducky.
No, it's detecting a keyboard, yeah?
It's a keyboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this emulates a keyboard, and it's the same as if I type very fast, right?
Yeah.
So things that I have seen to try to mitigate this problem is there are some software solutions that will try to detect this behavior, such as a keyboard sending a lot of keystrokes in milliseconds, which is not human possible. And they will try to use some heuristics to block this behavior, right? Or yeah, I guess that's pretty much what you can do, because you cannot like you cannot block like the keyboard itself, right? Like this is like a regular keyboard. It's gonna be here. So the next one
Okay,
is
just going back
oh,
to that,
yes.
Where does the rubber ducky have any relevance in a security assessment though?
Yeah, it's used for social
User
engineering as well. So
How much your end users are trained?
mhm.
That's where it comes back to, like, are you
Aware,
aware, like,
Yeah.
are you going to see something in there, you're gonna use it? Now, with this one, I will say, and I think I will be, look,
Yeah.
my phone is dead, I need battery, I see a freaking cable that matches my phone. Am I gonna connect it to charger? The
Yeah,
answer is probably yes, because I need battery, and I found a battery, and I found a cable, and I don't have a cable with me, so I'm gonna use the one it has. That one, again, looks like a cable, but by any means is not a cable.
yeah.
You can use it to charge it, by the way, it does work as a charger.
It does work as a charger, right?
But it's
Yeah.
a way to remote into the computer, like I said, we're not gonna do
Yeah,
that
it's still like a regular cable. All these are created, developed by a company called Hack5. It's Hack5. They specialize in building like stuff like this, like advanced implants, things like that. And this one, as Marco say, is the premise is very simple. It's a USB cable that you connect, and it's like you connect a keyboard that you can control remotely, right? So the cable inside has a couple of chips, has some Wi-Fi module. So when I connect it, it spawns a Wi-Fi network. I can log in remotely. I can send keystrokes. I can configure some payloads in there, so I can have ready. And all these payloads are programming in a programming language called DocuScript, which is compatible with the rubber ducky. So there is already. Sorry.
You can pick up passwords.
Yes, exactly. So there is
You can also do that with software.
Yeah, there is already a big community of people that create DocuScripts, and you can find pretty much for everything. Like a common example that I want to give is if I want to crack into a Wi-Fi network, probably I need to do like some Wi-Fi assessment and things like that. with a cable like this or with the rubber ducky, I can use a payload that basically exfiltrate the password, the Wi-Fi password of the machine. And then I don't have to do any cracking or any handshake analysis or anything, right? And yeah, there is you can collect passwords, you can run scripts, you can do a reverse shell, you can log in remotely into this computer just by plugging this, and you know it's just like
I have the wireless scanner, so the scans my computer and I can the wireless scanner scan these cables?
yes, like they will see like SSID announcement is configured, you will see the Wi-Fi network. And by default, it says something like OMG cable, right?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure every company in the world, every security solution has that network blacklisted.
Yeah.
No,
But you won't blacklist Starbucks.
No, so what can I have a device? I say, hey, all I see if this cable is a good cable or bad cable. So I insert that cable in the device, and the device is gonna tell me, hey, this is it.
Yes. So by the way, these guys, I got this on a special at Defcon. It was like it's a $300 cables, by the way.
They're the most expensive charging cable.
Yeah, the most expensive. And you need a device to program it, because by default, because of some regulations, they have to give you the cable. They sell it to you disarmed or deactivated. So you have to activate it yourself with a device like this. And this device also, you can use it to detect these kind of cables. So if you get this one, I guess you can use it to see if a cable you have at home is malicious or not. But as you say, like they sell you like the hacking device, and they also send you like the protection, right? Or the device to basically make sure you are not gonna get hacked. But when this came, you know, into the public, it was revolutionary, because the NSA, the story of this cable is the NSA has been developed this type of technologies since decades, and they have invested, I think a single cable like this one costs like $20,000. When they start producing it like en masse, and it was 20,000, and these guys made it for 300, right? So there was some innovation there for sure. Yeah. So the next one is, I'm pretty sure a lot of people is familiar with this one, which is a Flipper Zero. We have been talking about this one like for months now, and a lot of members has their own Flipper Zero. Most of the time they are out of stock, but whenever they sell it, they fly. And basically the Flipper Zero is a small device. I have one somewhere over there that has a lot of capabilities. It's a radio frequency, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi hacking device that is capable of listening and transmitting on different frequencies. And you can use it pretty much to learn everything about NFC, about Bluetooth, about RFID. It has also some USB capabilities, like basically you can do similar stuff that from the rubber ducky with this one. You can configure a set of payloads and you connect it into a computer and will type the keystrokes. And it's, you know, it looks like a toy. So there is some story behind about why it looked like a toy, because actually it was developed by the Russians. And yeah, like they have to ship it to the US, and it's like, yeah, you're shipping like cyber weapons. Yeah. So it's a toy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Here's one thing.
Wait, I'm not sure I got that. Say it one more time in a nutshell, what it is again?
So the rubber ducky, I think it's over there.
No, not the rubber ducky, this one.
Oh, the Flipper Zero. Yeah. The Flipper Zero is an electronic device. I can pass it to you so people can play with it.
Can you use it with that or?
No.
So this one, it's actually known, like we did a demo last year where we had a Tesla outside.
I can go for it.
And we opened the charging station, so that there's a hack for that. So if you have a Flipper Zero, and you want to have fun, so when you go somewhere, which here in California, everybody has a Tesla pretty much now.
Yeah.
Just go in a parking lot, press once, and all of them are gonna open.
Yeah.
In fact, we did with what you call it was driving the trailer with a bunch of new Teslas driving, And we press well, we send the signal, and then the things
The
start
charging
with
port.
the charging port.
Yeah. So yeah, you can mess with people with this thing definitely as a joke, but don't do it.
Yeah, so you can emulate like some of the examples we gave last time. That
So
was
it's like,
exactly
I'm
a
gonna
year
pass
ago.
it, but it basically looks like a toy.
Yeah, it does.
It has a lot of like capabilities.
Oh, yeah.
Only work on Hyundais and Kias or all times.
You can create for anything. One of the exploits we had last time is like this person, like who gave the talk, she emulate her car thing for her apartment. Like, I guess in order to like
You can
to get an extra one, they charge you like, I don't know, like $100
Yeah.
or something. She emulated that so she could use that as a, as a key, right?
So can you walk up to somebody with this device and sort of get their credit card
Yes.
information right out of their,
Well,
stand
yeah.
right next to them and,
Mhm.
okay, so give me some other applications that you could do.
Oh my God.
Besides opening port.
This would not be the best device for doing that, but definitely it has
It
some.
has the capabilities. I will say,
Capabilities.
go back, it's on YouTube, by the way, on our
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Go back to August of 2022. You will see everything that we're talking about. Like
Yeah.
from a high level perspective, like how SDR works to like now here you go, like she emulated like the ring, not the ring, but like to
The
like
budget
the-
or-
what she did? She did the Nintendo Switch, she
Yeah,
did the
you can emulate like the Nintendo Switch amiibos, the small characters and a lot of things. So I want to do like a small demo. I don't know the latest I would say like development was somebody during DEF CON, they were messing around with people with iPhones. So basically they capture like whenever you have like some AirPods or any Apple device and you bring it close to your device, it sends a notification, an alert, right? About do you want to pair these devices or so the person captured that, uploaded to open source community, and now everybody can use it. So I don't know if anybody has another iPhone. Somebody has an iPhone here. Yeah, so for example, when we can do this is nothing like that. This is called the Apple Bluetooth Low Energy Spammer. So what it's doing is basically doing like a random emulation of different Apple devices. And it's like to kind of like annoy people and trigger them. I mean, you are trying to send a message and the notification is so that was like the latest joke in the community, right?
So you can't, if the phone is off, you can't do anything with it, right?
No, this is it off? Is the phone off? Actually, I don't know the answer for that.
Okay.
Because a lot of phones, they keep working even if the operating system is shut down. They are still sending and transmitting signals, like radio signals.
Okay,
But yeah, you can.
So then,
do
let me
interesting
ask
stuff.
one other question, can this, because it's Bluetooth, can it be used to steal somebody's wallet, right? You go to a Bitcoin conference and, everybody's looking at their iPhones and then you just like open up a port.
Depending, depending on that goes into like Bluetooth reverse engineering, which is not my area of expertise. But you can, with more, I will say, more powerful antennas, like Bluetooth has like a range, right? Like this demo that I did, it only works if my phone is here and the Flipper Zero is close by. But if I have a more powerful antenna, and I have seen people doing it during DEF CON, they were spamming the whole people in the room. So there is people with NFC. NFC is also a technology that is kind of like close range, but if you have like a more powerful antenna or reader, you can reach.
And actually, here's a very good one that many people don't know, and it's especially in San Francisco with all the break.
Yeah, that one.
So you can use it with your phone, but this one will also, since you can connect an antenna and adapter. Oh yeah, like that one, for example, it's a different
Wi-Fi
one,
model.
but it's more like for Bluetooth. It basically creates that extension to have like a accelerator. What these physical attackers are doing, just to know if there's especially computers in their car is they go around with a device. It could be a scanning device, not just Flipper Zero or the phone,
Yeah.
actually.
More
Maybe
powerful.
more powerful, right? They go, and if they see that something around there is Bluetooth, means there's something inside that car that it's in there that I can steal, right? So that's the mindset. That's why when you go, especially in San Francisco, well, number one,
Yeah.
well, that, but again, it's functionality, right? So if you turn that off, then some other stuff is not gonna work. Like for example, if I turn it off, then my watch is not gonna work, right?
Mhm.
So with that being said, either do two things. Shut the computer down because you don't need it on. But it's still, you can still have the risk that someone, regardless if they have the thing or not, they're gonna break into your car and steal it. Or, and just take the computer with you and that's it, right? But regardless, anything that has a Bluetooth, either turn it off completely or at least just turn off that feature, which, you know.
Yeah.
One thing you gotta be aware of, legally speaking, that's a burglary tool. That's a felony to carry it, so
Mhm.
depends on how sophisticated the cop is that stops you, you know.
Yeah, yeah, there is
Here's the thing. User education, how many people knew about this? If I show it to a cop, does he gonna know what it is?
Well.
So that's the other thing.
Cops know about, I'm not saying they know about this specifically,
Right.
but they know the general burglary.
both
Yeah, of
devices,
course.
yeah.
Yeah,
But what I'm saying is in general, like they are coming up with just tools like this that are, this one is $179 and does a lot of things, right? That's why it's a hacker's toy, because it's a toy. It wasn't meant to do like bigger things, but it gets you the introduction to do those things. So now you can go and buy the Hack RF, or which is like a $500 device, or
Yeah,
whatever.
or the Proxmox stuff
Proxmox,
to
which is
like clone badges and
Yeah,
parts
like-
and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah, but again, just by itself, it looks like a toy. If I show it to a police, like they will say, "Oh, it's pretty cool." He doesn't know what this device is capable of. That's where we're getting to, like end user education. This is.
Let me give another example. When you go to DEF CON has possibly 20,000 people attend DEF CON.
Actually,
Yeah.
50,000 this year.
50,000.
They all gonna go by that flight. And they all people gonna buy all the stuff and they're gonna bring the stuff back on the flight.
Yes,
And no one stops you from taking this stuff on the flight.
I have going like many times at the airport. I always carry my Flipper Zero on my back, and nobody has ever told me that. So
Nobody cares, you know.
nobody cares. Yeah, and just to
Especially TSA. Now, I did get stopped once when, actually, go back to the next slide because that's actually
The next
relevant to what I'm gonna say right now.
Oh yeah, that one
The
too.
pineapple. I used to carry my patch and I used to carry my pineapple, portable pineapple. Without battery pack or anything like that. I did get stopped once at the TSA because they know about the pineapple. But that one, because guess where it appeared? It appeared in Mr. Robot and it appeared in the Silicon Valley show. And it was just a joke, but it has the capabilities. So same company who makes all these devices, exception of Flipper Zero, Hack5 created the pineapple, and that one became famous because of these shows. So now now they could recognize it. Oh, pineapple! Like
Pineapple.
they don't know much of it. They know that it's used for malicious purposes, which
Yeah.
you can't.
Just
You can use it. Well,
no,
you
but
can use it
that's
for many
true.
good things as well. But
Yeah,
but
So did they let you go or did they, you have to start?
they stopped me, so I have to either they will confiscate it. They treat it as a almost like a weapon,
oh my god.
like a knife. A knife. They say, oh, I forgot it that I had it in my pocket. They give you the options like, especially if it's a nice knife, right? Oh, okay. We can let you ship it, or you can just throw it in the trash, or they gave me that option. Luckily, my wife was nearby, and I called her. It's like, hey, can you come back and take this? And when she went back to her, it's like, what happened? It's like, just take this home. He's like, what now? He's like, for this? I said, yeah, for this.
Oh my god. I always travel with all my stuff in there.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is like all these things are open source. Like just commenting something very quickly. This is open source. This is why this thing has some capabilities, but now there is people creating additional expansions to enhance the capabilities. And this Wi-Fi pineapple is also open source. Like if they see you with the logo and this thing, they will stop you. But you can run the same software on a Raspberry Pi, right? And it wanna have the same capabilities, and they will look at and yeah, it's a Raspberry Pi, right? Like there's nothing malicious in that. But on the same note, I think this is the last item we're showing here, or actually I don't have it right now. But this is a social engineering talk.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is one of the talks that we have like more interaction, which is good. Yeah, this one is like again like the Swiss knife of the Wi-Fi assessments. And with this one, the social engineering factor is in which this device has capabilities to create what is called a rogue access point, right? Or an evil twin attack, in which you can come, for example, here to Hacker Dojo, and you can spawn a copy of the network, that a Wi-Fi network that is gonna be called exactly the same, that you as an attacker control, and you can sniff all the traffic that is unencrypted in there, right? So again, like a lot of our devices are configured by default to connect to networks that we have seen in the past.
Okay, two more burning questions. First,
Yes.
are you broadcasting it or or can I see it later on?
We don't have it with us.
Oh, no, sir?
No.
Okay, the second, when you're showing that you can open all the card codes, right? So it means I have to have a specialized somehow configuration download from the internet or somewhere.
We were talking about
The Flipper Zero.
When you open all the Teslas.
Yeah,
That's the charging port.
So it means I need to have a configuration file somewhere.
Yeah, it's
Yes. It's on GitHub.
Does it have?
It's on GitHub. So what somebody did is like they realized that whenever you transmit a signal on a certain frequency, somebody captured that, and it's the same signal for every car. So you can go to a parking lot where there's a lot of Teslas and you just press the button and all of them will open the charging port, not the door, the charging port. That's important to mention.
And what about these stoplights? You know, when I go on the roads, there's stoplights. Can I just turn them green or no?
That's like, if there is some radio frequency technology around, devices like Flipper Zero or HackerRef.
Because when you have an ambulance going in, so they can
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, especially a couple months ago, I hear there was in Germany, some researchers published a paper. Actually, the paper was published like 2 years ago, in which the train still use some analog mechanisms to stop the train. And that was documented like some 2 years ago, and some bad actors actually use it in Germany. So they create a lot of damage, a lot of financial loss because they stop a train that could not get in time. And all of that, they use a HackerRef, right? So, or a HackerRef connected to a powerful antenna. So everything that is in the air, every radio signal, you can do what is called a replay attack, right? Like you can capture it and then you can replay it. And if the end that is receiving that signal doesn't have appropriate like verification mechanisms, like because in physics you cannot verify, right, who is sending that. Like the radios are coming all the way and you don't have something like rotating codes or integrity checks or things like that. You just trust whatever you are reading.
Actually, so next month we're gonna have a wireless hacking workshop. So the person who's gonna give a talk is gonna go in depth to how wireless works and how different methods to use that. So
Is this next Saturday or?
no, next month on the 18th.
What does that cost?
No, that's
For
great.
pineapple?
Oh,
The pineapple one is also cheap, right? It's like $100.
Depending, you're getting special like.
They have an enterprise version.
Yeah, they have an enterprise version.
Yeah.
Before it was just a toy cost $99.
Yeah.
$200, $500, and then now they have the $1,000 one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be. Yeah, I mean, technically, like I have one here. It's like actually, it's more of a from a secure standpoint, not so much from an attacker, but you can turn it into an attacker box.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Oh, here you go. Oh, look at that. 849, 1200, and 2700. Yeah, here you go. But that's yeah.
That is for.
Oh, that's the enterprise version, right? It has a lot of antennas. It can listen in like a lot of frequencies.
So that's everybody using?
No, I'm gonna talk about something else. So this is my travel router, right? I use it more for protecting more than attacking, but I can use the same thing for those same purposes. Same thing with the Wi-Fi pineapple, by the way. You can use it as a way, but this one is $120.
But yeah,
Can you just elaborate on the protecting part?
We'll do once we go.
oh yeah,
We're gonna talk about it.
mitigation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the last slide of the actual tools.
Yeah.
And with this, just by closing this section is like security, yeah, like social engineering is still very relevant, right? And actually, a lot of attackers, there is some fancy metrics about that you can read on the internet that say like 90% of all breaches has some kind of social engineering, right? And then the 97% of all those include like spear phishing and things like that, right? Like I don't what I'm trying to say is that companies kind of connecting to the original question, like they are spending this many $1 billion in technology, but they should also look at the process and the people, right? Like more security training, more like security judgment, things that like for security people are very obvious, but for people, regular people that doesn't have security training, they will open the door for somebody, right, to tailgate, as I was saying. So yeah, with this, this is the end of the part of the presentation, and now the mitigations. Question?
That one, and then
First,
I just wanted to share a story about
Yeah.
tailgating, right?
tailgate.
It's early in the morning and nobody's paying attention. And at least the person that was coming in early in the morning, it was a very elderly man, probably in his 90, 95, really. I guess he parked where you shouldn't be parking. He's lost, right? He just wants to get in the building, and it's about 20 minutes till. And the employee doesn't pay attention that there's somebody obviously piggybacked behind him. And this old man is in the black employee section, lost, is walking around. And staff came out, said, "Hey, there's somebody back there walking around." So I go check. I see the old man. "Oh, sir, do you need some help?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm trying to take care of some stuff around here." He's like, "Sir, we're not open yet. How did you get in?" He's like, "Oh, I just came from the door." "Which door?" "That door." And then let security now they check the video. Yeah, the man just badged in and walked in. The other man just walked right behind him and then just kind of wandered off and did his own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could have easily been a massive issue.
Yeah, and yeah, like, well, there was another
Well,
question on that.
I mean, there's so many scenarios on that,
Yeah.
you can use crutches and, bandage your foot and get it, what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like you have to, and penetration testers know all the tricks, to try to. I mean, so but like, on the topic of that flipper, I wanna ask you a question, going back to that one. That, there's people in San Francisco that just like will go around with some kind of thought and they'll open up car doors, they'll fence metal in a car. And they'll know, if the car gets, I mean, there's 27,000 robberies in, cars to like look for laptops. And they have detected the metal, and they're opening the car very quickly with some device.
Yeah.
That is some kind of fob device. Does that flipper have any sort of similar capability of doing that? I wonder if
Yeah.
the device they're using.
So it has some capabilities, and there have been demos in the past about like what you have to do to open a car. Like you just have to do a replay attack on the remote, right? My car is parking there in the parking lot. If I grab my keys and I press the button, I can record that on the Flipper Zero. The problem with that is that modern cars, like from 30 years in the past to now, they use a security mechanism called rotating mode, in which if I press the button and my car receives the signal, and then I replay the signal again, the car will know I already saw that signal before, so therefore it's invalid. So what people do, or in especially old cars, like from the 90s, 80s, they don't have that. So you can capture the signal, you can replay, and it will open. But new attacks, what I have seen is they do what is a jamming attack against the car. So you use the remote, it sends the signal, you capture the signal with your Flipper Zero, while at the same time you are jamming the car. So the car doesn't there is some interference, and the car doesn't receive the signal. So this one is good, right? You can replay, and the car will open.
So something similar to whatever they're doing when they're stealing cars too. that
So
they're
so
jamming the
when they steal, yeah, like I mean,
No, they're breaking in.
they're breaking in.
signal. Some are breaking in, but some have the
Oh, yeah.
ability to automatically
And
unlock. the
yeah,
car.
that's the part of the car hacking.
Yeah,
That's
a car.
it's very related, but it's
Yeah.
in DEFCON there is a car hacking village. They
Yeah.
do reverse engineering. They found that, for example, there was this one researcher, like he has an SUV, and he noticed that one night somebody was messing around with the car and damaged like one of the lights. And he was like, what the hell, right? The next day, the same. And it happened like 3 days in a row. I think by the third day, like they completely removed the light, but they didn't do anything besides that. The fourth day, they stole the car. And he was like, what the hell? So he started doing reverse engineering. He found that close to that light, there is a couple of cables that you can basically mess with them and inject some current, and that will open the car, right?
Because remember now, cars is
Are
basically
smart.
a computer,
Yeah,
right?
it's software
Yeah.
now.
So it's even the manual ones. Like I have a WRX. Prior to that, I have a '95 Mazda stick. If my battery was bad, I could just like someone push me for like a little bit, and the car starts running.
The
No
manual
problem.
transmission.
Yeah, exactly. But this one, people pushed me like literally we were fast, and the car did not start because it didn't generate enough power to turn on the car. So that tells me that the computer was not getting enough power to tell the engine, oh yeah, we need to start, basically. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, another one that it's pretty cool. Like I'll give you an example. Like if you find a remote control around, like especially in like especially in bars and stuff, like, hey, can you change the channel? And they never figure it out. So well, if you have something like that, all you can do is like,
Infrared.
power on, like, here you go.
Yeah, you can control speakers as well and projectors and
Did you have to punch on the TV model or no?
It has all the.
it's like an universal
entities.
remote.
Or you can use the general one, yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can change, oh, it's a smartphone, oh, nice, okay, well, it's, and remember, I don't know if you saw those talks, again, that's when these presentations that we make are one-on-one for a reason. We're not expecting you to know what it is, but we're injecting that curiosity so you can do research. That's what cybersecurity is all about, and hacking. It's not me trying to teach you something because I'm not a subject matter expert, but I know enough to understand and explain it to you in a way you can understand. But your job now is to understand how is this happening, Go and look for the Flipper Zero, go into their website, you read the description, what it does, the capabilities. Now then go type on YouTube, go into YouTube and search for Flipper Zero talks, go into our channel. We have the talks where this girl went and spent like 2 hours just talking on a Flipper Zero and the technology behind it so you can understand. And then it did some more examples, like, like the garage, for example, or opening the gates on apartments, like literally you can replicate those attacks. And so you can clone the signal and then you apply it and it will act as a remote, right? So yeah, in fact, last week I was in a Airbnb and actually in this instructions for the house says there's no remote control for the TV. Well, not anymore. I do. Maybe not you, but I do.
Yeah.
So again, go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, so kind of connecting all these back to the ransomware. Like we understand how ransomware works, the damage. We understand the different techniques, how people malicious actors breaks into companies, how do we protect against ransomware, right? So if you're familiar with the MITRE attack, which is a collection of techniques and procedure about cyber attacks used to breach into organizations, there is a similar matrix called detect, which basically map all the defense mechanisms that your organization needs to implement to try to mitigate ransomware attacks. Here you will see something like we talk about detecting like ports, right? Like like stop propagation, things like that. So we're not going to go detail into this, just putting here as a resource for you to learn and basically be aware that this kind of thing exists, right? So I see people taking pictures. I'm gonna wait for that. But basically, if I have to summarize, MITRE attack is for offensive security. Detect is a framework for defensive security. And
Yeah. So how we fight this? Well, there's a saying that basically says, prevention is ideal, detection is a must, but detection without response is useless. So again, this comes back to the upper management in the companies, right? And and this is as easy as it gets, and this is how we fight, and this is how we win. People, technology, and processes. These are the pillars of information security. It's as much as they try to make it as a triangle, it's never gonna be a right triangle. It's never gonna get right, because if you fail in one of these, the result is gonna be that you're gonna have an incident. Processes. If you don't have the right policies, if you don't have the right processes for in your company, things are gonna get bad. People, if you don't talk, if you don't teach your employees, well, this actually goes for the technical and non-technical, so your end users, if you don't tell them that what's right and what's wrong, and if you're just assuming that you're doing something wrong, you have to let them know that they don't have to click on everything they see, or they cannot pick up. Even as getting a cable is like, oh, I just find a cable, well, not anymore. And now you see that these cables are not just cables, and technology. Some people overspend in technology, and some people don't buy anything to safeguard themselves.
Okay, personal question to you. What happened 3 years ago? There was a physics professor, and he was making his notes. I don't know if you heard that story. And he was sitting at the airport, and he was going for a presentation. He was writing his notes, and that lady sitting next to him came and said he was trying to deploy a bomb inside the airport.
oh my God, I remember that.
And he was a physics professor, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying, because you have a guy, would you also face similar challenge? Like, hey, you look like someone who is trying to hack into aeroplane, just like not seeing you as a white hat.
Well, I mean, that will be stereotyping and racism right there. That's a different topic, because, and this, again, if we go back to 2001, right, when 9/11, right, automatically we start stereotyping, Muslims, right? Or even people from India who were wearing, like turbans and stuff. Nothing related, like not even from a religion perspective, nothing related. But because we saw someone with similar aspects and brown and with a beard, automatically they were terrorists, right? So, I mean, there's always an equilibrium of everything, right? And that's why you have to be cautious about that. You cannot discriminate, because at that point is discrimination, Yeah. And again, yeah, I don't. If you know that story, yeah. But I don't know. I didn't hear about.
No, but this didn't happen to me specifically. But on the same note, I have a friend that once his computer was full of stickers, and hackers like to put stickers on everything, and he got pulled I think he was traveling through customs, and he got pulled into the little room and started getting questioned. And I guess that was a stereotype of the hackers or the people. So I guess the only thing to improve this is with more spread security awareness, right? There is still this negative connotation about hackers are cyber criminals, And a lot of people in the community, they are trying to change that, right? Like actually hackers, ethical hackers specifically, they are like the good people. They are the ones that are trying to protect assets, the organizations, the countries, all that, right? So it has to be something that has to be solved at a cultural level, I believe.
Yeah. So going back to what I said, about people, end user education, right? You have to, train them, right? So secure awareness. Also, now that's on the end user side. On the technical side, whether it's IT or security departments, hire the right candidates and don't just hire like full blue teamers or full red teamers. Or pick from different sections, because that's how you're gonna, the diversity is gonna make you better. So pick people who has blue team operations knowledge, red team operations knowledge, purple team. Collaborate, share the knowledge, right? Communicate with, not just internally but externally as well. Let them know what's happening. Huh?
Purple team?
Purple team? It's just a combination of blue team and red team. Yeah. And again, training is important. By you standing here today, you're getting knowledge on something that the rest of the people are not getting. So you're doing the right thing by getting exposed and aware of what's out there. But many people don't care about it, or many people think like,
They just become the CEOs of the company.
Exactly, and especially them, because those are the ones. Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones who should be taking the training, and they don't. There's many companies that I've seen where they make those exceptions to the higher ups because they don't have the time to do it. But the secretary does, the executive assistant does. So, I'm gonna take the training for so-and-so because he doesn't have the time. I say, okay, well, you're gonna be good at it. Is he gonna be good at it? Well, it's because he doesn't have the time. I'm like, all right, well, if we get breached or if something happens, then let him know that I want something signature that he's not taking it because he doesn't have time.
No, he will just fire his secretary. My secretary.
Right. He's gonna blame it on someone else, and that's usually what happens, right? Like they try to blame him who never took ownership of their actions. That's the end of the word there. They delegate. That's called delegation, right? They delegate their work because they have to focus on important mission stuff. And that's not important. Well,
Important is playing golf.
Yeah. Actually, I have a story.
There's a company called Novifor.
Oh yeah.
They do training on this.
Right.
But they also have a lot of modules available that you can test
Yeah.
people, and they're free, and
Yeah.
you test your people and see if they fail,
Yeah.
and then you resell if they fail.
Yeah.
Or the chief executive, you just point out, well, we just took over your computer.
Yeah.
You want to learn about it?
So Novifor, again, it's known because one of the founders was Kevin Mitnick. So rest in peace. He just passed away a couple of months ago. And Kevin, he was definitely a lot of people saw him as a technical person, which he did back in the day. There's a famous, actually, a book called the Big Takedown, which talks about how the person who found Kevin on, he was in his network, but it wasn't as technical. Kevin was one of the best social engineers of the decade because he got into networks not for his technical knowledge, but for his social engineer perspectives, right?
Who is the person you're talking about?
Kevin Mitnick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he created with other
How did he
people.
die? I remember.
Cancer.
Oh.
Yeah, he had cancer and he lost the battle.
How did you last name, Kevin?
Mitnick.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you used to go to RSA, he always was in his booth, signing books, and I got a couple of his books signed by him.
He was the first guy that got arrested for hacking.
Not the first, but definitely one of the famous. That,
And I think he's one of the.
He was the first one to get hit hard.
Yeah.
For it.
sorry, go ahead.
That little heavy guy with that curly hair.
Yes,
Yeah.
in classes.
I thought he's still in one of the meetups here, like several years ago.
No. We
His name was
did.
Black Hat, but.
We
years
have
ago.
what was his last name is Grimes. Remember his first
Roger
name.
Grimes.
Roger
Yeah.
Grimes. He did a talk for us. Roger Grimes, like he works for No before, but his specialty is attack multi-factor authentications, and he gave a talk on how he does it, and it's how easy it is. So again, not because you have multi-factor, oh yeah, problem solved, right?
Yeah,
But-
isn't no before, I think, Kevin in his company, but.
Yeah.
Roger and Stu, I think.
Right, there's a bunch of there, but like, obviously they make it, again, because of Kevin's success and popularity, they make it look like it was Kevin's company, but it was.
Everybody wanted to hire him. He got tremendous consulting.
Oh, yeah, of course, oh,
Was he the author of 1440?
no,
You remember 1440?
you're talking about, no.
1440 was a magazine for hackers.
Oh, no, you're talking about, no, it's not 1440,
2600 or 1600?
2600, that's 2600,
That too, yeah, they both were.
yeah.
I think there was another question there.
Yeah, sorry, John, you had a question?
You're saying Novi, like Novi for?
No, and then
KNOW.
BE, and then four, number four, no, B4, yeah, all together.
KNOV,
Okay, NOV.
KNOWB.
I think
And then the
Mitnick
number
did 2600, didn't he?
Oh, he was in different groups, yeah, he was a part of many groups.
Yeah. For years, he's been passing out free burglary tools.
Yeah, in his book, when you signed the book, he gave you I don't think I have it. We did it was a business card with like lock picking stuff, but I do have one that we 3D printed. No, so-
He gave out a metal one too.
Oh yeah, no, those are the metal ones that he gave, yeah.
Those, I wouldn't carry that in my wallet if I were you. If you get arrested, that's a burglary tool.
Well,
They blow it back.
I'm a veteran too, so I don't think they're gonna question what I do. So,
You never know.
well, we'll find out. Every time they stop me when I was speeding, I don't know if you've seen my plate, it's Air Force One, right? So my joke to the officers is like, oh, I wasn't speeding, I was just flying low. And I crack them every time, and and never get tickets. I have not get that tickets. Full all the time for going 85 plus. And as soon as I crack that joke, they stop. And they see that I'm a veteran, and that's enough of the story, you know. In fact, they say thank you for your service. That's it. All right, let's going back to this. So
Wait, before we go to this, just one more question. So, on the topic of this scanning thing and QR codes, you know, now I think you even have to be worried about scanning QR codes because you could be scanning somebody else's bad QR code and then put them in your contact list, right? And salespeople might wanna like use that and they think that they're, you know.
Can I piggyback on that?
Yeah, of
That's
course.
actually an issue I have, right? Everybody, I think it's beneficial to have a QR code with all my contacts on there, you can see that. Then I put that on a business card, instead of putting every single contact information on there, scan the QR code. People are terrified that, whoa, I don't want that, this QR code, where does that go? I'm always questioning about it, right? As a matter of fact, I have one on the front, my QR code, nobody wants to scan it.
Here.
You got one right there.
Here, actually, no kidding. For the people who were not here early, this will give you a free ticket to the AI security conference that is happening next week. Just in case, but this one is legit though, so if you want free access to the conference, scan that anyways. But to his point, and actually when we gave this presentation a couple of weeks ago, to this big company that we're not gonna mention. That was one of the questions.
Somebody
like-
made a comment.
made a comment about QR codes specifically, and here is the answer. Unfortunately, it's just the way we're going. There's many ways you can mitigate that. At the end of the day, it's you putting that common sense and also like giving that trust to that QR code. If you see it on a restaurant, you're assuming that is the menu, and hopefully it's the menu, right? Especially with after COVID, right? You want to get food? How many restaurants in San Francisco or around here did not give you, and still don't give you a menu because of this sanitary things? They give you, it's like, oh, scan the code. Now you're forced to, right? Now there's no way going around it. You want to take it to the next level? This is what I will do. I will take a picture, then I'll go to, for example, and this will be a long process. So that's why it's like, really, you want to go through that hassle just to find out that it was actually the menu? Okay, here you go. Here's what I will do. So I'll take a picture of it. I'll go to
Cyberchef or something.
Cyberchef, yes. Go to Cyberchef, upload it, and it will give me the code, like where the address is, right? Take that address, go to like urlscan.io, put that address, and it will give you a screenshot of what it is. If it's malicious, it will say it's malicious. If it gives you a download of something, it will download it and it will provide the hash. Maybe if there is no, they already don't know if that hash is bad or not. What you can do is take that hash, go to VirusTotal, and find out if it's malicious or not.
What's the website you
And
check?
that's a lot of work.
Exactly. Yeah, that just if you want to get very secure aware, right?
Yeah.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Cyberchef, yeah.
What's the website?
URL scan.
urlscan.io.
URL scan.
It's
easy way, you buy $50 sample, these are pro sample.
Or.
Yeah,
You
that
can
is
use it and just throw it next to you.
a border font. Yeah, but I mean, it's a fair question, right? Like
Right.
talking about like the zero
We're all
click
trying to get
exploits.
more innovative and faster,
Yeah.
but it's almost riskier now.
I guess something that I can think from the top of my mind, like the phone, the operating system can have like some kind of like sandbox functionality in which it can open the URL, but everything be sandbox, right? So if there is something malicious there, cannot escape like to other processes, right? But again, like this is like building like additional security layers. So it has to be a combination between those three things, like judgment, the technology, and
There's no go
process.
between that you can go in to check the QR codes or like.
So I can,
This is-
you can develop
Yeah.
a new app, and so this app will scan a QR code.
Yeah.
And
The
do all the thing
validate.
in the background and give you the right. result.
actually I don't know if like VirusTotal, for example, or if there's other websites. I'm assuming there is. I just don't know about them. But if not, that's actually good ask, feature request for these companies to create an app for that. I think there is. I just haven't found it. Again, being that I'm in security, even if I see a QR code or even if I see a USB or a cable in the parking lot, I still pick it up. And not from, again, I'm a curious person, but again, I'm not gonna use it on my personal one, right? So I'm gonna take it to my sandbox area and I'm gonna see what's in there,
Analyze
right?
it.
But that's just the nature of my business.
This by sandbox will also, you can penetrate sandbox and get out of sandbox.
yeah, if there is vulnerabilities in the sandbox, yeah, that's how like people do like container escapes and things like that.
Yeah.
So no technology is like 100% secure, right? That's the point.
Yeah.
But you have to put layers and layers and layers of security. So at least you make it like more difficult and more expensive for attackers, right? To achieve their goals.
And actually, this talks exactly. It's called defense in depth.
And the defense in there.
It's a defense in depth is security in layers, right? So we call it the onion. So you start at the perimeter level, which is your firewall, right? And then underneath that you have your IDS, IPS, your mail content filtering, your sandboxes. Then you have your at the bottom all the way to the EDR, right? Which is your endpoint, right? Or antiviruses, right? That's defense in layers. And I mean, now it's starting to talk about this. Here are the things that you will need, like to safeguard in a company, like for at least the minimum. A SIEM, collect all the logs to understand what's happening in your network. Have an EDR, not just antivirus, but an EDR, because remember, antiviruses work on signatures. If there was a signature for a file, it will be, read as malicious. EDR stands for endpoint detection and response tools, right? That is basically works based on behavior, right? If it says it's bad, it's gonna let the process run. But as soon as it starts doing something that it doesn't make sense, even though it's a legit program, it will stop it, right? That's what it's worked for. How to trade Intel subscriptions, VirusTotal is free, but if you want like next gen capabilities, that's again that's something. Again, to the point you make earlier about the money is going to all these big companies. Well, who are you talking to? Are you talking corporations? They better. But now you're talking about a small mom pop shops or something like that, small business, mid-range. No, they for the minimum will have firewall. That's because like now it's almost like built in everything. Like this thing, now going back to this thing, this is my travel router, right? Why I use it? Well, use it for many things. Number one, this is a firewall, right? It's a small $129. It's a firewall.
What's the brand?
The brand is GLINet. Go on Google, and it's a wireless router, right?
GLINet?
Yeah. So this one, I'll give you an example. Number one, it will block. So like if I'm in Starbucks, I will not connect directly to Starbucks from my computer, or I will at first. And here's where it gets tricky, right? Because if I can try to connect directly, like first through this to Starbucks, it will not let me because Starbucks requires a computer. Once it authenticates a computer, basically it wants your MAC address, and that's how they're gonna do their thing, right? However, what I do is after I register with Starbucks, right? I go in here and I configure it, and I clone my MAC address from my computer to here, so it thinks this is my computer. Now all my network or all my communication is gonna be through this device. Obviously, it's gonna be a little bit slower. I don't care as long as I'm protected. It has a switch here, so I can configure to have a VPN, so I can turn it on and turn it off.
Oh, what VPN are you using?
And so this is what you do instead of just hotspotting to your own, right?
Right.
You don't want to be
Or-
affected by the digital twin that could be.
Right, exactly, right. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
What about just utilizing Tails instead of that, would that work?
Well, this is literally you're talking about Tails, it's a, Linux distribution, right? So this is a Linux box in here, so it has, it's called, I think, OpenWRT, which is BBSD or BSD. But it's basically a Linux distribution that for small appliances. This is not a Raspberry Pi, however, you can create with a Raspberry Pi, you can create the same thing. I just bought this one because someone told me it was cool. Again, it has many capabilities. Also, I cannot do it with this one, but I can do it with the Wi-Fi Pineapple. There is places, and again, I'm not telling you go and do it, but again, it's free game, and as long as you can use technology in your advantage, I don't think it's malicious at all. But there is places where they give you fast internet for for the first 15 minutes, and then after that they charge you, and that's great. But then, why you want to pay for something that it's already free? All they do is like they detect you that you're using it for more than 15 minutes. As they register your MAC address, and then after it starts a counter. When it gives you 15 minutes, and that's it. Well, guess what? In the Wi-Fi Pineapple, you can run a script. You can create a script where after 15 minutes, it regenerates a MAC address. So it will detect the new MAC address. So you get another 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, it regenerates it. So you'll have internet for free. And that's usually good on airplanes. Oh, airplanes too, by the way. If you're traveling with one of these, sometimes they charge you per device. So they only have to get one device and then distribute it to you, especially if you're traveling with family, right? Oh, you have one internet? Well, guess what? You just pay for once and then distribute to everybody. Because it has VPN, because it has VPN capabilities. Again, the airplane will restrict some stuff. Guess what? Now the information is encrypted. Now you can bypass some things. The Wi-Fi Pineapple, this one will not do a lot of the stuff. This is just, commercial, if you want to call it. But the Wi-Fi Pineapple, it's the same software, but it's open source, and you can do a bunch of stuff, right? So again, not telling you go and do it, but it's, again, you sometimes use technology as your advantage, because why do I want to pay someone for something? Sorry.
You said the number is 1300 because it says out of stock. Amazon.
Oh, well, you're out of luck, man. Sorry.
No, the device.
This one is old though. This one is
Let me answer that, because I'm looking at the website, it's $100 for the newest unit.
What's the number?
this one is a 750S.
I have to go.
Okay, yeah, if you wanna go, that's fine, I'll take over, yeah.
I think there is, the conclusion is the last
Yeah,
part, but.
yeah, that's fine.
And
Yeah.
then what VPN are you going to use? Do you have your own VPN or is it come to?
Oh, you can create your own VPN at home, yeah, or in the cloud.
I
Yeah.
use OpenVPN.
Yeah, but this one has the Open VPN. It has also WireGuard. It has like three ways of like looking and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, he has to go and do something. So.
Oh, I have everything.
That's Marcus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right, going back to this. So people, technology, and processes, right? So the right people, right? Train the right, have the right people, train the people you have invest in the right technology. Don't go and spend thousands on things that you don't need. But definitely what you need is firewall, a SIEM, an EDR, and threat intel subscriptions, right? Because if you put it all together, it's gonna work. Now, for firewalls, only works if you're in the company, right? Unless you have like zero trust networks and stuff. But at the end, it's gonna talk to an endpoint, right? So make sure that you have that endpoint. So the EDR will be the best in this. That's not cheap, by the way. If you get EDR, I would recommend getting MDR. Why? Because MDR is a managed detection and response service that basically monitors your network and monitors events. And if there's something bad, it will let you know. And you don't have to have like a bunch of security people around it. All you have to do is get their service and they'll do the work for you. Right? Processes. Again, most and procedures, risk analysis, incident response playbooks, create tabletop exercises to do proactive incident response, right? Have your disaster recovery and business continuity planning. Have all those things because that's part of your processes, in case something happens. Now, I always like to emphasize the McDonald's effect, and people don't think that working at McDonald's I didn't learn anything other than flipping burgers. Well, guess what? At 17, I worked at McDonald's. That was my first job, and I still use all those things that I learned in McDonald's to apply for even in cybersecurity or in business in general. If you go to McDonald's, doesn't matter where in the world. The first 6 menu items are the same in the US, Canada, Mexico, whatever. Number 1 is Big Mac. By the way, that's my favorite. So that's why I know it. So that doesn't matter where you go, Big Mac is always going to be number 1. And after like the 7 and up menu, it's going to be tailored to the company or the country they're doing business. Like in Asia, they use a lot of teriyaki. In Mexico, they have the Mexican where they can use a lot of hot sauces or spicy and guacamole and stuff like that, right? The menu changes as they go elsewhere, right? Now, why is this important? Because they have the concept and their logistics doesn't matter where they go around the world, the logistics are the same. The process from a cashier to like flipping the burgers to how much they're putting into each of the hamburgers, it's the same, right? So with that being said, nothing changes. What a lot of especially multinational companies does is like if they have a headquarters here, they have headquarters in EMEA and APAC. Everybody has their own controls. They want to control their own things. Because we do it this way. And culture plays a lot of aspects here. You have to tailor it to your culture, but that's fine. And that McDonald's does it, right? And does it very well. What doesn't change is the beginning, the main aspects, the basics. That doesn't change, right? So with that being said, always apply the McDonald's effect, especially if you're in a company or you're in charge of a company or something that they have multinationals and they have stuff like that, right? So just apply that concept and read more about McDonald's and how they do operations because you learn a lot from it. Not just from flipping burgers, but again, for other stuff. And this is pretty much the end of this presentation. And there's a lot of takeaways of this, right? Number 1, going back to how we started, and by the way, there was a lot of good communication and interaction with this. This topic was about social engineering. However, we did talk about other things as well. that I was not social engineering, but it's also good to discuss because it all comes together. Remember, social engineering has been used or is being used currently as the first mode of attack. And MGM and Sony was the great example. Why? Because they got ransomware, because they fell on the processes. So if we go back to this, where the MGM fell? People and processes. Why? Number one, they social engineer the help desk. Number two, the processes. Like if there was a really good setup in their processes, they could not get it to this level. Like one of the processes, like, and this is just me, will be like if I'm implementing something, will be if someone from the higher up, it's asking me, especially knowing that it's a whaling attack, right? I know they're trying to do a whaling attack on my executives and they try to target them. What I want is create a process where my help desk will question the shit out of them. I'm sorry, I'm using my French here, but I will question every single one of them because those are the people that are taking decisions. Those are the people that will make they are in charge of the mission of my company, right? So I will create a process. So ask them as much as possible. And since they rely a lot on their executives, it's like, oh, give me a second, contact the executives. And says like, hey, so-and-so is calling me. You normally do this for him. Is it really him? Just kind of like question, kind of like have a double or triple security for these people. Again, not that, I don't make these decisions. Companies will probably say, oh, that's a waste of time and all that. But hey, you know what? At the end of the day, it's what you can do to protect yourself. Multi-factor authentication, right? They had it, but it was worthless at the end because Okta, they hacked the server and then they disabled that. So at that point, whether you have multi-factor or not, who cares? They end up deploying the ransomware, right?
So I guess like for thousands of years, okay, theft was always there. People have been stealing for like millions of years. Existence existed.
Yeah.
So it means that theft is not gonna stop. Okay.
Oh no, of course not.
But it's like they're the very small number of people who are doing it. Like the majority of us, we just work hard, we make our livings, we go home, right?
Yeah.
So do you think, in your opinion, that the thieves are very highly skilled, or they're very highly intelligent people, or?
Depends what type of attackers we're talking about. If it's a nation state sponsor, well, someone's getting paid.
Okay.
If it's a cyber criminal group, well, it's just another organization. And by the way, if you just read about Mexican cartels and how they do operations, oh my God, they have the shit together. They do way better business than the multinational corporations in America. I'll just give you that. They have how they do their processes is like amazing, and how successful they are, how much millions doing something bad, which is, from the production of drugs to the deployment of drugs and the logistics that comes with it. It's amazing. And and then how they're distributing, creating these tunnels, like really? Like they have the money and the intelligent people to create these amazing tunnels to transport stuff. Like, why don't they create something like that for like the Tesla thing they were trying to do between here and LA, right? To avoid the traffic and all that. Like, I don't see it. Like, did they even start like the building it? No. Well, these people don't care because they have to go to the bureaucracy and all that, blah, blah, blah. They just go and do it, and it's well built and everything, right? So it really depends who you're talking to, right? If it's a sponsor, there's always money involved, things are gonna get so much better. But if you're just a script kiddie, who cares? You're doing it to show yourself, oh, I did something, right? It's more about pride. But it really depends, right? So those are, like, in conclusion, that's again, social engineering. You just have to be alert of your surroundings, and understand that these attacks are real and the impacts of it, right? So so with that, that's my info. That's Lenin's info. So thank you so much for coming. And again, if you have any questions, so again, for the people who were not here early, we have the conference coming up on December 2nd, and then we have the training on December 1st. And then also we have next month's meetup is gonna be a wireless workshop. That is just basically an intro to wireless hacking. We're gonna actually promote a class on it, so a paid class. So the next one is just an entry freebie to you to get you in. Then once you're in, we want to train you more, but it's gonna cost money. Okay, so let's
Who's
do that.
gonna do that? Wireless?
The Phil Morgan,
What's the date of our next meeting?
the November 18th.
What is it?
November 18th.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure, go ahead.
I guess, I guess this is more of a plug for Pacific Hackers Discord channel. I recommend joining it because everything that he's talked about, all the websites he's mentioned, I looked it up and they're all there. So if you're interested in checking out any of those websites that he mentioned, I plugged them there in Discord. So yeah. Do you have a QR code for that?
I do. Give me a second.